So over in Ordinal land, you could have bought one of these JPEGs right here for about $5,600. You won't believe what they're trading at 30 days later. It's over $100,000 within 30 days. We're talking in Bitcoin. These things have a floor price of 4.2 BTC. Yeah, you heard me right. 4.2 BTC. They were trading at 0.2 BTC about a month ago. These are created from a dude called ZK Sharp. But these aren't just your ordinary ordinals. And of course, what makes it even more fun is that I asked BitGod, I was like, hey, what are some of your favorite ordinal collections? And he was like, I like Ordinal Insiders, Ordinal Maxi Biz, Bitcoin Frogs, and Lee Puppeteer. Notice the second one. It's Ordinal Maxi Biz. He actually told me this when these stinking things were trading around 0.4 BTC. I shared it in the Discord, but still, I faded this thing because I was like, man, I'm not seeing myself shell out around 10,000 bucks on a JPEG. Until I realized what ZK was trying to do in understanding the rarities of these different sats. Before we get into the details on this video, if you guys enjoy this type of content, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me what you guys think of Bitcoin, DeFi, and these ordinals. If you guys want to jump in the exclusive Discord, there's a link in the description below. It is the Patreon link. You'll kill two birds with one stone. You'll get to join the exclusive Discord group, and you will support the channel. Let's go and get into this. These have some really interesting satributes. What's giving the value to these Ordinal Maxi BTCs, which is OMB, has to do with its satributes. Now, what are these satributes? Well, you have a bunch of different ones. Well, to be exact, currently we only have 10 different satributes, and I'll explain those later in this video. But let's just go ahead and click block 9. So basically what block 9 it means is that it's technically the very first public block on Bitcoin. All of the other 1 through 8 blocks, they were mined by Satoshi Nakamoto. However, block 9 was mined by someone else, and that is just something to factor in. So in theory, unless Satoshi's wallet wakes up, this is basically the very first sat, or the only block that has sats on it that were publicly available. So technically you can call this block 1. Now, these also have some other satributes as well, which add to its rarity. But before we talk about these satributes and explain it, let's go ahead and put this on a real world and a real life example. These are called silver dollars. Now, this is a peace dollar, this is a Morgan dollar, and this is also a Morgan dollar that happens to be upside down. But these are not all the same. If you look here on the very back, let's see if this works. But basically, if you look on the back of this Morgan dollar, there is a letter that says, oh, this really doesn't mean anything for this Morgan dollar. However, there are some other Morgan dollars, like this one, that have a Carson City. Now, to see what the CC looks like, you really can't see it. Oh, actually, you can kind of see it. It's right there. But you also have different dates and different mints for each of the coins that you have, like quarters, pennies, etc. But the difference between this Morgan dollar and this Morgan dollar is that this one has a Carson City, and it's a rarer date, or more rare date. And this one also has a Carson City. These are both rare coins. Now, this is just a common. This thing's probably worth like $30, and that's just going based on its silver value. And you can kind of hear the chink, but that's what silver sounds like. That's like 30 bucks. Now, these Morgans, these are Carson Cities. Now, depending on the type of Carson City that you have and the quality, like these are not uncs. Unc stands for uncirculated. These are heavily circulated. So people were just chinging around. People were spending these like money. Like, yeah, that's not a good coin. These are more rare if they're more, they look better. They don't have a lot of wear and tear. Now, let's just say these are junks, which these are junks, but they're Carson Cities. They're actually worth about 500 bucks. Now, if these were brand new, uncirculated, and I had a certain date, well, these could actually go for millions of dollars. In fact, there are a couple of coins, and I'll show you right now. The $1 million Morgans is what they call them. So here is the 1893 S Morgan dollar. This sold for over $500,000 at auction. And this is what they call a key date. Now, the prices range from $3,000 to $500,000 or over 500,000, and that's due to the quality of its coin. If it's heavily worn, which it's like a junk, whatever, it's not going to be worth as much. However, it's like pristine and awesome, then it's going to be worth more. Now, take a look at the melt value. This would basically be considered its spot value, so how much the silver is worth. This same attribute also goes for Bitcoin and Satoshis. Now, all of these Ordinal Maxi BTCs, these are minted on sats. So that is its base value. It's literally the value of those sats. Now, if you sold it for the sat value, you'd probably get like a couple pennies. It's not what you want to see. However, if you are going based on its rarity, you would get over $100,000. Now, let's go and explain a couple of these attributes so you can see what's up. So let's go ahead and take a look at these attributes to understand what we're talking about. The first transaction, this is the sat from the first 10 Bitcoins from Satoshi. To figure out how rare the first transaction is, all you got to do is do 10 Bitcoins divided by 21 million. Why 21 million? Because that's how many Bitcoins there are. And just putting it in a calculator to give you guys the numbers to see what's up, it's 0.000000. It's a lot, like a lot of zeros, percent chance of doing that. Basically, it means it's really hard to do that. Now, there is one that's even more rare, and that's called the palindrome. Now, the palindrome is a sat whose number reads the same backwards as well as the same forward. I'll show you what that looks like. It is actually really saucy. So if we go back, you can actually do this yourself. We're going to use ord.io, so ord.io. All you got to do is click this attribute and click palindrome. Currently, we only have 6. We have one over here, one here, one here, and then we have this funky one that literally just does this. Epic. I wonder if he knew he was printing it on a philonundrome or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Palindrome. And let me show you what this looks like on the inscription. If we go and click on it, take a look at the SAT number, 750000949. But if you look at it the other way, it also reads 750, just like it did on the front, 750. And then it says 0, and then it says 0, 0 here, 9, 9, 4, 4, 9. So it reads the same back and forth. I don't know. In my opinion, like, dude, that's sauce. There's only so many sats that will do that. So far, we've only had 6 of them that were inscribed on it. I don't know the exact percentage of sats that have done that, but obviously you can calculate it out based on the amount of Satoshis that there are. All you got to do is multiply 100 million times 21 million, because that's the total Bitcoins, and then you get the total Satoshis, and then you can factor in all the numbers and figure out how many it'll do. Probably someone in watching this video will know how to do that. Go ahead and drop a comment, say, yeah, it's this many, whatever. The next one is the sat from the 10,000 Bitcoins used to purchase the Papa John pizza. Now, this is not going to be as rare as the first transaction, because instead of a pool of 10 Bitcoins, you have 10,000 Bitcoins. And you can actually simply go on ord.io and see what else is out there. Oh, well, the 2,600 different inscriptions for the pizza. And now there's more than just the 2,600, like people are creating some every day, but that's just something to keep in mind on this. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, which is going to be block 9. We already explained this to you guys, what the block 9. So as you can see here for pizza, you got 2,677. Now let's compare this to the first transaction, which the first transaction is just going to be what? Oh, well, it's going to be the 10 Bitcoins instead of the 10,000 pizza Bitcoins. You can see here there's only 309. And then, of course, you have other block rarities. Like, for example, you have block 78. This is basically the sats mined by Hal Finney. And to see the rarity on that, you simply go to block 78. And you're going to see here that you have 2,611. This one is a little bit similar to the pizza one. Now, of course, more inscriptions as they come on there, great. But to determine how many of the Satoshis are in each block, you simply go to the Bitcoin block rewards. For block 78 and block 9, those both had 50 Bitcoins in them. So all you do is you do 50 Bitcoins times what? Oh, 100 million sats. So basically you have a pool of 5 billion different sats that can be inscribed on either block 9 or block 78 for Halfpenny, and obviously the sats mined in block 9, which is after Nakamoto. So basically, based on this, so far what we've gone through is that the first transaction and Palindrome are going to be, in my opinion, the most rare so far. Why? Because this is over a pool of 10 Bitcoins, this is over a pool of 50 Bitcoins, and this is also a pool of 50 Bitcoins. But the Palindrome, just going based on the total amount that's inscribed, there doesn't seem to be a lot out there. Now, the next one you have Nakamoto. This is basically a sat mined by Satoshi Nakamoto. So to determine how many sats or what ordinals have the Nakamoto satribute, all you can do is click Nakamoto, and you can see here there's 652 inscriptions so far. Now, in my opinion, these are going to be pretty rare because Satoshi, when he was mining blocks and the amount of Bitcoin he has, a lot of those Bitcoins haven't moved out of his wallet. So he basically has a bunch of sats that were mined by him that haven't moved. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't send any transactions, because you can see here that he sent some from Halfpenny, but it's going to be rare compared to just a common or a uncommon sat. Now, let's go and break into these different sats. Now, when you break into a Bitcoin block, you have several different sats. So from that 1 to 100 million different sats, you have to look at the rarity of each. Now let's break down the different rarities and how rare this would be. The common sat, any sat that is mined, not the first sat in a block, is 2.1 quadrillion. So there's a lot of sats that are not mined in the first block. And how you get this is getting the total Bitcoins that are minted and divided by the amount of blocks that you will have, and then obviously you will get the 2.1 quadrillion, or just about that, because it's actually going to be a little more than that, because eventually you're going to get it to where the reward weight is so tiny, but it's never a non-zero number. And then you have the uncommon sats. This is going to be the first sat of that block. So if I have 100 million sats per Bitcoin, that means the very first one inside that block. This is what a block looks like. As you can see here, the block on, what block is this? 793,276. You can see here that the total reward was 6.25 Bitcoins. Why? Because you take the 7.219 minus the 0.969, and that's going to give you your 6.25. That's just what the current block rewards are until we have the next halvening, which is going to go to like 3 point whatever. It's going to go half of what the current block reward is. So basically the very first sat that was minted as like the reward in this. Then you have the rare sats, which is basically the first sat of each difficulty adjustment period. The difficulty adjustments happen based on the amount of miners that come onto the market. So if there's more miners, the difficulty goes up. As soon as you have that difficulty adjustment, it's basically the first sat of that difficulty adjustment period. Then you have the epic, which is obviously going to be the first sat of each halvening epoch, which is every single 4 years, which TLDR means it's extremely rare. I'll show you guys the stats so you guys can check that out again. And then you have the vintage, which is basically a sat mined in the first 1,000 blocks, which is also rare. You can see here you have the epic. There's currently 32 of these. The rare, there's 3,437. The uncommon, there's 6.9, or just call it 7 million. The legendaries, this is basically the first sat in the first block after a coinciding halving event and difficulty adjustment. There's only 5. It's so rare that they don't even show up on ord.io. Why? Because there's none out there yet. Nobody's found the sat to inscribe it on. It's probably just in like a bunch of, I don't know, cold wallets, whatever you want to call it. And then you got the mythic. This is in Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet. This is the very first sat in the Genesis block. Now, if someone gets that, that is basically having a provably scarce asset, a one of one ever in the entire world. It's kind of cool. especially on the most secure network in the world, which is Bitcoin. But obviously, that's just some facts and data and whatever. And you can do with it what you will. So now you're probably asking, like, all right, Drake, these things are selling like nuts and ham, especially the ones that are on the Palindrome or even on the Nakamoto or even first transaction, block 9 or block 78. And you have a couple of options. First is you can simply FOMO into these. Or second, you can go ahead and connect your wallet and you can go ahead and see what you got. So I just connected my wallet and I'm going to see what I got on my profile. Well, unfortunately, this wallet doesn't have any inscriptions in it and I got no rare Satoshis. Let's go and see if I got anything rare in here. Uncommon, nothing. Rare, nothing. Epic, nothing. Vintage, nothing. Nakamoto, nothing. First transaction, nothing. Palindrome, nothing. Pizza, nothing. Block 9, nothing. Block 78, nothing. You can do that yourself on any of the wallets. You can also simply use a site that's called Sating, and you can simply just hit check, and it will do it all for you. You can also connect your wallet up here and take a look and see if you got any rare sats. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Rare, epic, uncommon, legendary, and mythic. None of them. Anyways, guys, that's how you can go sat hunting and see if you got any, rare coins that are maybe worth $1 million. And you can see if you got some rare Satoshis in your wallet. And you can also use that to your advantage to take a look at some of the different ordinals that are on ord.io, and you can filter by the different satributes. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope it brought some value to you guys and brought some light onto what the different satributes mean and how some people are valuing them in the ordinals space. And if you guys did enjoy that video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to jump in the Discord, the Patreon link is in the description below. Basically share a bunch of exclusive content that I don't show on YouTube with a bunch of other DeFi degens just like you. Proverbs chapter 11, verses 10. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. Be good, be righteous. Peace.